Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is December 27th, 2021. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Delzo.
Here.
Trustee Juarez is absent this evening. Trustee McLaughlin. Here. Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee Nava-Esparza is absent. Trustee Peretta.
Here.
Mayor Ryan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, before we start our regular meeting, I'd like to ask everybody to join me in a moment of silence. Unfortunately, yesterday, a very popular clerk in our clerk's office, Elisa Geis, passed away. And also I was told this weekend that a former trustee, John Shapiro, who served here at the village from 2005 till 2017, also passed this weekend. Can I get a moment of silence, please? And please think of the Geis and Shapiro families. Keep those folks in your prayers. Thank you very much. For our officers' reports this evening, let's see, my assistant Becky reminded me that I'll put this on the agenda next week, that we need to request that the board agree that we open the village hall late on January 12th for our annual employee holiday breakfast. We typically do that between 8:30 and 11 o'clock in the morning. We try to get as many employees as we can, and again, with the social distancing that we need to do, we'll certainly spread everything out accordingly. And occasionally between the police and fire and public works, they're all kind of coming and going that morning. And I believe we secured a breakfast through George owns Eggman's, but Eggman's is going to be catering breakfast that morning for us, so thank you to Eggman's. Next I had on here was many of you get these reports all the time for the Cook County Department of Public Health, the new mitigation orders for the latest COVID-19 surge. And in short, in response to the current COVID-19 surge of cases and hospitalizations in suburban Cook County, the Cook County Department of Public Health issued a new mitigation order for suburban Cook County jurisdictions. Specifically, the order calls for the proof of vaccination for customers of indoor settings where food and drink are served for on-premises consumption, like restaurants, bars, and entertainment venues and fitness facilities. The order will go into effect January 3rd, 2022. Under this order, businesses must display signage about the mitigations at every entrance, and prominently within the facility, businesses must develop a written protocol with details for how they will check vaccine status and how they'll enforce the order as well. Businesses violating these orders will be subject to inspection and possible fines for violations. Again, this becomes effective January 3rd, and it's pursuant to Cook County Code of Ordinances. And just in brief, regarding all businesses and individuals, any individual age 2 or older and able to medically tolerate a mask shall be required to wear a mask when indoors in public space, regardless of vaccination status. Masks may be removed at restaurants and bars and other eating and drinking establishments by patrons when they are actively eating or drinking while stationary. indoor settings where food and drink are served for on-premise consumption, and health centers, mean that businesses, like I said, businesses must require any individual 5 years of age or older to show proof that they are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 with an approved vaccine order to enter the establishment. Businesses must require patrons age 16 and older to show identification, including but not limited to a driver's license, passport, government ID, work or school ID, with information that corresponds with the vaccination proof. So you can't use your friend's card. Employees must be vaccinated and must weekly show proof of negative must show weekly proof of negative COVID-19 test, and businesses must develop a written protocol providing details how they'll enforce that order as well, too. So, exemptions, the only exemption to this is individuals entering an establishment for less than 10 minutes for ordering and carrying out food or making a delivery or using a restroom facility. Those are exempt. And there's a few others here then, too. Any person entering a business subject to this order for the purposes of voting in a municipal, state, or federal election or pursuant to law, assisting or accompanying a voter or observing such elections as well. There's other small things like that. So basically, Cook County has implemented this, and they'll be enforcing it as well then too. And we're going to ask our businesses do the same to comply with this order. Did the holiday breakfast, and I just gave everybody just the summary of what I just received this over the weekend, that the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals recently lifted a stay that temporarily suspended the implementation of the OSHA emergency temporary standards. In other words, requiring that all private employers with 100 or more employees and state and local governments located in states that have an approved state OSHA plan, like Illinois, to require employees to be either fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or produce a negative test result each week. I gave everybody a summary of what we got from the Illinois Municipal League, and certainly at the bottom they highlighted that the Illinois Municipal League recommends that municipal officials review the policy and ordinance and consult with their legal counsel and human resources staff or collective bargaining units prior to taking any final action, which is certainly what we'll do, and I'll bring that back to the board when the time is appropriate. And that's all I had for tonight. We have the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation of the November 2021 motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $67,648.65, and the presentation of the December 20th, 2021 board meeting minutes. And that is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
I have a question just for clarification purposes. When is the Village Hall closed for New Year's Day?
Friday.
Okay.
Because New Year's Day is on Saturday, so you implement that on Friday.
Okay, just wanted to make sure everybody...
Okay, I think, Clerk, we probably got notice on the door. I meant
There is notice on the door, yes.
I had a lot of my
It's
plate
on the
today.
same one with the Christmas. It's all on the same
Okay.
page.
Public forum, we didn't have anybody in the audience this evening. We'll go to standing committee reports, finance and IT. Trustee McLaughlin.
I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week. And also Joyce would like us to rediscuss the finance associate job description,
Okay.
which everybody should have in their packet this time.
Yes.
I don't have anything to add from what I said previously, unless you have questions or concerns.
No, so actually, Joyce, obviously, I appreciate it. In this packet, we have the actual, I read this earlier today, and as you said, the only changes that you made were from the original, was just the,
I added in the general purpose, I added the statement, this position will also serve as backup for the AP payroll clerk and staff accountant.
okay,
And on the education experience, I added after the will possess a bachelor's degree in accounting or equivalent experience.
okay.
I mean, I will just point out, I mean, personally, I don't like this position backing up for payroll, just because of all the intricacies with our overtime policies and the different contracts and everything. I personally feel that it belongs with somebody more experienced.
Well, internal control requires that it not be a staff account.
Okay, and my thought on it would be HR.
I don't know if, well, first off, when we hired the HR manager, I don't believe we asked him to have any kind of accounting skill set, so I don't know that.
And payroll isn't necessarily an accounting skill set. It's verification of the hours and the rates of pay, which HR should be fully aware of.
I'm sure he is. I just that we didn't ask that of him when we hired.
But there's always that caveat of other duties as assigned.
Why wouldn't we have somebody in the finance, in the finance, let's say, in the finance department do the same thing? That's what we're doing here.
And all I'm saying is I don't think that somebody just walking in off the street is capable of doing that type of task.
Excuse me, but I don't think anybody's just walking off the street. They have to demonstrate some qualifications to hold this position. They're not just walking in off the street.
Well, I'm saying they are not coming in with any knowledge of our union contracts, of our pay schedule, of our rates, of things like 7G. I just think it's better handled by somebody other than a person that is only going to touch payroll twice a year.
But that's their job, is to learn that.
The other is, right now, like, I can tell you, I'd have to sit down to actually get a full class on that myself to understand payroll, because it's not under my purview of management, per se. It's yours, that's your employee, and this would be under the same kind of window, whereas you would essentially be responsible for that same task.
Exactly. I would not have any control over an HR manager that decided to do what they wanted to do.
That's what I'm saying, the board allocated, they allocated HR under my purview, who I work with HR constantly and so forth, but I have not interfered or dabbled in the accounts payable department and stuff then too.
No, in all honesty, every place that I have worked in the private sector for the past 35 years, payroll goes through HR. I mean, even at Griffith right now, payroll goes through HR. The checks are cut by finance, but the input is done
By HR?
by HR.
Which is opposite of the experience that I have had. Payroll has been under finance.
I can't say that, even when we had our previous HR person here, she was willing to be trained to do it, but didn't have any knowledge of. And so, that's as close as we ever came. But as far as I know, and again, I can appreciate, Joyce, what you're suggesting is, it's always been my thing when I was requesting cross-training. So you can't have all your eggs in one basket. You need to have more people know about what you're doing here and stuff then too,
And I'm saying HR was part of finance until we had the issues with the manager
years
prior
ago,
to
they
shit-
changed the whole structure of it, right? HR was slash the treasurer at the time and stuff like that, right?
Well, when we hired, Ms. Franzen reported to Kent.
Mm-hmm.
HR was under the finance director.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's not the case anymore.
No, we changed that 4 years ago in conjunction with the issues we were having with Ms. Franzen. But
That's what I'm saying. For me to best instruct or oversee that particular task, I'd have to know what I was looking at to begin with. So I'd have to be taught as well as the HR person, and it might not be the case if we obviously deputize, somebody else, like you say, your finance associate for that same task, with you overseeing to make sure it's done properly and so forth, because we've gone through so many audits and we followed their instructions on how to best not just, let's put it this way, to be sure that we're not crossing any lines in the interest of preventing fraud and so forth like that then too.
Internal control.
Exactly, right. Not saying it's a bad idea, trustee. I think it's just easy. It's more beneficial having finance oversee it than my office oversee it, I guess is my point.
And like I said, and all I'm talking about is the payroll input. I mean, the accounting and the journal entries would have to go through finance no matter what. Human Resources doesn't do journal entries.
The other component of the job description on here, and I brought my copy with me here. I didn't. Anyway, I had pulled up the previous job description when we first created this position back in 2019, and were we okay with last week's discussion, trustees, as far as salary? Did we agree on a salary last week? I don't think we did we?
No, we didn't.
So I think we need that. We didn't have it on the agenda. This is a committee meeting, but I think we need to agree on that as well, too.
I think we were addressing salary, that it was remaining the same.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're good with where we were, yeah. Because we'll have this on we have to put this on the agenda with regard to hire, is we have to agree on a salary on this matter yet, too. So,
No, but Mayor, since you mentioned when this position was originally created in 2019, I did find communication from the previous finance director in conjunction with our previous HR manager, and in terms of why they chose to call this a finance associate as opposed to staff accountant. And it was entirely driven by the fact that they said this position has very little accounting duties associated with it. So they chose finance as being more appropriate with the nature of the work. So just bringing that into the conversation, I mean, talking about where we're specifying that the finance associate will possess a bachelor's degree in accounting, well, then that's contradictory to the title of the position.
well, I
It
did
expands it past that, though. It also indicates possess a bachelor's degree or a master's in public administration.
And I did copy that same email, trustee. I think that you're referring to. It was it was basically the agenda cover with a background for the hiring a finance associate position, and the explanation then, and I'm assuming that's what Ms. Tucker's saying, is that for the past few years, the village's audit firm has written in its internal control letter to the Board of Trustees and Management the following: that under other deficiencies and internal control and other matters section, saying that during our audit procedures and inquiries of management, we noted the current staffing levels in the village's finance department do not allow for the optional functioning of the department. Without a professional hire, it is likely that the statement will be part of the future audits and so forth. So it just, as you said, trustee, the previous finance director was saying that I'm requesting an additional professional staff hire, as I have requested multiple times since he had gotten there, to support that department. And he cited a lot of different issues as well then too. But again, I just think this is best managed or overseen by the finance department and not my office, as HR is at this point then too. And the original salary that was included in the, this is just a memo, it is just a cover memo for us at a meeting, what was a total cost of $51,250 is what we started this position at in 2019.
No, my only point on that topic is that, I mean, we don't include a degree in finance as being an option in here.
And what do
They're
you,
often saying bachelor's degree in accounting or public administration. I'm saying a bachelor's degree in finance would be an acceptable alternative as well.
so you're saying under education and experience, right now it says the finance, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the previous one. The finance associate will possess a bachelor's degree in accounting. Alternatively, a finance associate will possess a bachelor's degree or master's in public administration in a related field, having taken intermediate accounting classes. And what we have in this, I'm sorry, what we have in this current job description, the finance associate will possess a bachelor's degree in accounting or equivalent experience. Alternatively, a finance associate will possess a bachelor's degree or master's in public administration in a related field. So it's basically saying the same thing. The only thing changed, and I think, Joyce, if I'm reading this right, was in accounting or equivalent experience, is what you're saying, right?
Correct.
Okay.
What is equivalent experience?
On-the-job experience that exposes them to similar job duties, responsibilities, not just being a staff person managing, controlling, project management, those types of things would definitely qualify someone for this position.
And for what term of time?
It depends on the workload itself. I mean, if they've just done one project, that's probably not sufficient. Multiple projects is desirable.
I just want to know.
They have to be able to demonstrate that they can do that they can take on these responsibilities with minimal instruction and carry it out.
Okay.
I need someone to be able to complete the job and get it done without me having to be the crutch through the whole thing.
Within your department right now, we've got 3 full-time positions and 2 part-time positions?
No. Well, okay, are you counting me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, 3 full-time and
One part.
part-time.
No,
Okay, thank you.
Today, there was 1 full-time and 1 part-time. It was a little short.
Yeah.
Joyce, I would ask that if we're going to consider both of these functions, maybe, both the job description as well as the salary, it was included in the previous job description. Why don't you include both when you, for us to consider this at next week's meeting? Just unless you want to put them separate, I don't care. But we got to make sure they're both in writing, that we're approving both. Yeah.
well, they should be separate, not together.
I don't know. He had it. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm looking at him. I keep looking at this like a job. I'm looking at job descriptions, but this is more of a memo. Why don't we just make them separate? I don't care. We just like we did last week, and just approval job description, approval of salary. Okay. Anybody else? Any comments on this as well?
Why would we have to approve the salary if it's the same as before?
Because we actually, I explained, it was, how should I say, our current finance director erred using I explained to the board, he used our appropriation budget,
Okay.
and it was off by a few
I got
bucks.
you.
And I want
Okay, I
to make sure
remember
it
that.
goes back to where we had it.
That was my
Okay.
So, we never adjusted it, but he was looking at his budget book and not the actual ordinance and stuff. And
Okay.
HR, I apologize, HR did that, right.
Not my guidance, I will take the responsibility.
Well, and again, yeah.
We didn't know where to find the original.
And we've since, he and I have a decent grip on, I met with our HR manager last week, just for compliance on hires and stuff like that, and everything is copacetic, everything's fine. Anyway, that's all. Trustee, anything else?
No, it's just to make, so he's aware, I mean, before anybody's hired, it needs to go through you for
Totally.
final signature.
Yep.
And
Yeah. All right, then we'll go to the Fire Committee. Trustee Murphy?
No report tonight, Mayor.
All right, Trustee, thank you. Police and Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell?
No report this evening, Mayor.
All right. Public Work and Boat Launch Committee?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, Sewer and Water Committee?
No report, Mayor.
All right. Building and Health, Trustee Parada?
Thank you, Mayor. Next Monday night's meeting, I will have a presentation of the November 2021 Health Department Monthly Activity Report, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, Special Committee Reports, Economic Development Committee.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. I know, I think I shared everything with everybody last week on that. Most of our developments are moving right along, and that's all I can say right now. There's a couple of new companies that want to come to town, but I can't release their names just yet. We're still working on obviously securing those folks. And we're supposed to be getting a presentation from Next Site coming up. That they were at the deal-making show, and they have an interested party that wants to look at Alsip for a new business here. Next, Village Properties, Trustee McGlowan.
no report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Ordinance and Legislation, Trustee Parada.
No report, Mayor.
All right. And then Planning and Zoning and Licenses Committee.
I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated December 13th, 2021 through December 22nd of 2021. And under those business licenses, I would like to welcome Hyam Tax Service, located at 5101 West 111th Street. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thanks. Did anybody have any presentations or petitions or communications? How about any unfinished business? Or any new business? None? Certainly, I want to, I know we start off our meeting, and this is really weighed heavy on me and all the employees, and I'm certainly, Clerk Harding, you developed these relationships with our employees. We have wonderful employees that work here, and certainly I wanted to acknowledge Elisa Geis and her family. On the other side, I hope everybody had a nice Christmas weekend with their families, and hopefully everybody was safe. It seemed like everybody I talked to, test them positive, test them whatever, and it was just the talk of the town. I mean, you don't know which side's up. But obviously, we're not going to see each other until just after New Year's at our next meeting. And I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. And hopefully next year in 2022, I'm an optimist. Some people hate. I know my wife hates that. It's like my glass is half full all the time, and I really hope things start shaping up a little bit. I hope we can get out of this rut sooner than later. That everywhere you go, I was at my own family doctor last week, and just the first thing he says, you're vaccinated, right? I'm like, yep, I got everything I need, and they're just really encouraging everybody to get a vaccination right now, and hopefully their science works. I know you still get a lot of people that feel it's their option or their preference and so forth, but I hope we all stay safe. I tell you that it's not so much. I was talking with our deputy fire chief today, and it's not so much even getting people to the hospitals, but the hospitals are so inundated right now that the ambulances are being backed up at the at those driveways at the hospital. They can't even get people off the ambulance, or we can't get our cots back for 45 minutes, and you're tying our guys up that we could be doing other things and stuff here too. So this whole sequence of events is really, really costing, it's time, it's money, it's lives, and we just can't find a way out of this just yet. You know, we have to work with what we're being handed, so. Please, I'm just encouraging, we tape all these meetings, everyone wear a mask as much as you're able, and please wash your hands as much as you can still. Now that rule has changed, and I'll tell you, I don't know how much left on my hands. Every half hour, I think I'm in there scrubbing away and stuff, you know, but let's be safe. And please, I hope everyone has a good New Year's then, too, next weekend.
Mayor, I had one more thing. Did we want to consider pending the arrangements for Elisa on opening the village hall later, give her the same
They're
consideration?
already up. It's Thursday from 3 to 9.
It's an evening thing this
Yeah.
time.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
Yeah,
All right,
it's actually, her family posted something today.
okay.
It's a Thursday evening.
I believe Erica sent out an email this afternoon, so you should have it.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Anyway, can I get a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:02 PM.
No.
And again, have a good New Year, everybody.